Hello and welcome to the Troyiverse. This is episode 14. Uh, Today is January 17th, Saturday, and a lot of stuff has happened today. And it snowed, unrelated to the snow. I do want to say, started off, fuck ice. Um, so, that being said, today has been an amazing day. Like, I'm not going to say, okay, let me just say it like this. I'm always in a state of gratitude. I'm always in a state of peace now. I'm always in a state of just abundance and joy. That being said, and that's regardless of who isn't in my life. That's just where I resonate at. That's my like my base level of who I am. When new entertaining experiences happen to me, then that level just amplifies and go up higher. As of right now, I am on if my base of gratitude is like at over 9,000, then definitely every outward experience is a KO10 up times 10, while my base level of over 9,000 is not even me hitting Super Saiyan 1 yet. It's so every time something happens, it's like basically a KO10 times 10 plus a Super Saiyan up level type thing. So let's that being stated, um, I'm gonna talk about some things that happened this week, but I'm basically gonna go into the spiel of what I was doing when I was a kid again, and my journey of learning and understanding myself and this healing that I'm experiencing now through the lessons I learned as a child and growing up. So, as I was saying to everybody in the previous episodes about how I first was into intimacy or sexuality was because of different series of events that basically was like, hey, don't do that. And when you tell me as Troy not to do something, I'm going to be why not, and also research and then study and just understand why I shouldn't, and either decide to do it because fuck you, don't tell me what to do, or I'm not going to do it because I'm like, okay, that might have been great advice and yada yada yada. So in this case, I was like, fuck you, don't tell me what to do, and some ended up, unbeknownst to me, wound up finding somebody who found my posterior appetizer and enjoyed my company and when it came to giving and receiving fellatio. So it was like it was interesting because at the same time the person who I was with, like their parent used to work at a hotel chain. So we used to get like these top free hotel rooms like all the time, which meant like I was never home and they were never home, so we had free reign in the hotel to do whatever the fuck we wanted. And the beautiful part was, they had pools, they had a gymnasium, workout room, stuff like that. And basically, it was a thing where we would just like hang out in hotel rooms and just like give each other oral all the time. It was just a whole just a, yeah. Remember again, there was no actual like penetration, like anal penetration from neither of us because I didn't know anything of what like penetration was, sexual penetration was. All I knew was oral. And that's what I learned from him as he gave it to me, and I reciprocated. But then it became a thing of we started finding porn that my uncle had, the Virgo uncle had, because at that time he was living in the basement with his partner, who was one of the parents to the siblings. So we found this porn, and that's when I started to learn about sex. Like I know a lot of people learned about sex through porn or through, I mean, the older generation through Hustler and Playboy, and then even more the next generation was like actual sex like theaters and stuff like that. The same sex theaters that Pee Wee Herman got crucified on because of the fact that he's an adult, went to an adult responsible area to have adult fun with himself in a room full of other adults who also came for the same reasons. So I don't like the whole point is people act like he was literally going to like a goddamn like Tom and Jerry movie, which we all know Tom and Jerry did not have a movie during that time, so just making up a hypothetical. He went to a Tom and Jerry movie and did that. Like, no, he went to the appropriate location at the time for that situation. Oh, pause. That was weird. So, um, I guess that was confirmation. So, with that being said, um, later on, it was a thing of when I started to understand sex and sexuality as an adult, I started to have more and more conversations with other adults, and I started to ask them how did they learn about sex. And more than likely, a lot of the conversation steered to most people learn about sex through porn. Most people learn about sex through movies, or Skinamax, or Real Sex, or all the other Ranch Diaries, all the other things that was on Skinamax, Showtime, and HBO, the Bunny Ranch, all that stuff. And then there was other people who learned about sex through their friends, their peers, who heard about sex through their older siblings, or they might have seen like one of the other variations that I mentioned earlier. That's how they seen it. So then they told their friends about it, and it was like, "This is what sex is," and that's how they learned. But it was very few instances where the fourth option was prevalent of parents actually telling their kids about it. Now, of course, the obvious fifth one was the fact that, through school, but as I already mentioned previously in other podcasts, school don't, they're, they're, how can I say this? Reasoning for teaching sex isn't about learning, it's about fear based mongering. If you do this, you'll get that. So, between those five things, the fourth one of parents actually talking to their kids was very low on the barometer of people I've spoken to, and I trust me, I talked to a large array of people from Philadelphia to Virginia to Seattle to Portland to Jamaica to like India. I talked to people from all different nationalities, all different like cultures, yada yada yada, and more than likely, it's usually outside of the states that you hear people or individuals hearing about intimacy or sexuality by their parents. Usually, it's through um, in the states in America is usually through one, two, three, or five. Um, so, and then of course the sixth one, which is they just do it themselves. But yeah, for me, so me watching horror was kind of like my opening to it, and then my understanding. Oh, that's the sex that happens between men and women and stuff like that. Oh, but at the same time, I was also seeing representation because instead of men on men intimacy or sexuality or sex or intercourse or coitus in the videos, my uncles had male on female and then female on female and then the group stuff. But the thing that got me, the thing that really like drew on my special interest, like the beginning of my special interest, was the understanding of group orgy sex. Like it was like, and also story plotted sex, because porn was porn, and porn was just the rinky dink, the cliche. I got a pizza, yada yada yada. But then there was other ones that was like it would just be a group of people together, and they just have a whole big like orgy. West Coast Connection. Like shout out to them for all those like incredible productions. Or West Coast Productions, or I guess it was called. Where I feel so bad for Lloyd Banks. Every time I think about it, I feel bad about because it was it was the poor dude who looked like Lloyd Banks. And so everybody, but he was just buffer. They had like the same face structure and actually the same like facial hair. So it was kind of like first glance, if you wasn't paying attention, you would think it was Lloyd Banks. So everybody thought Lloyd Banks was a rapper and also a porn star, and then because of horrible, you know, us versus them culture and trying to demonize or try to like make homosexuality a bad thing when the porn actor that looked like Lloyd Banks went from doing regular porn with female co-stars to going to the male on male side because it actually offered more money. Because here's the thing about a lot of like what people don't realize or understand. The reason why porn is prevalent is because men like seeing women. Women like seeing women. No one really likes seeing dudes. It's a small percentage of people on both sides who like actually seeing males in their videos. That's why most of the time lesbian porn is actually getting more viewers and revenue because women don't want to see dudes most of the time and dudes don't want to see dudes most of the time. However, if you go where you're appreciated, you get appreciated to the full extent. So where do you go as a guy who want to be appreciated and have his talents being shown to be appreciated? You go where guys are liked and guys are craved and desired. So the actor went over to the male on male dominated field and he was getting buku money or more money, not buku money. Let me phrase that. He was getting money, he was getting more revenue than he was on the hetero norm side of the thing because the women are the ones who get the more revenue on that side. Even though, once again, I'm not saying just because they get more revenue, they get a shit ton of money. No, like industry and business is about making money, not giving money, but they do, give extra benefits to those who are, stars and naturals. So there you go. So let's just make that clear and honest. I'm not saying, oh, women in porn make more. No, no, no. They don't. They make money, but not yada yada yada. They're not breaking a bank and yada. Not all of them. That's why a lot of different industry actors and actresses, mainly actresses, because I have not really seen any of the dudes do what the women are doing, which the women are literally they're used to being on camera, they're used to performing and being like kind of themselves, but also performative of themselves. So now they just do a lot of Twitch stuff. Like a lot of my favorite like actresses are doing Twitch like things. Like it's actually really cool. Like they cook, they play video games, they just talk and like talk about philosophy and stuff. They just talk about life. It's really dope. Which for me is awesome because sometimes I'm like, if you've seen one titty, you kind of seen them all. Like it's nice seeing new tits. It's nice seeing new vulvas and like clitorises and clit hoods and bare bottoms and stuff like that. It's nice. Like I enjoy it. Like that whole like monologue from Steve from like coupling and like what was that episode 2, lesbian spank inferno. Like that's so obvious. Like that's so obviously honest. It's the honest, obvious thing possible. Like we were cavemen, and the only reason why we made fire it wasn't to keep warm. It was so we could see the bottoms at night. Like we could see naked women at night. The whole industry of everything has always been just like Stephen Moffat wrote. Like the whole industry of men's achievement and evolution has always been to see women naked. Like so obvious and so honest. But at the same time, if you see one tit, you kind of see like if you see different variations of tits. Like if you see every tit from from a non A cup to all the way up to the triple J's, the like it's kind of one of those like, yeah, that's nice. So what do you want for lunch, kind of thing. It's why it's the point of certain my reaction of saying how I get bored easily. I get bored easily with everything and everyone, honestly, unless there's more substance to the person, the situation, or the thing that I didn't previously um, see, understand, or figure out yet. So when that happens, it's like, oh, okay, nice. It's it's the oh, what's his name? I want to say James Caan, but it's not James Caan. The Family Guy. Ooh, a piece of candy thing. Like it's like, oh, okay, this is like more that I can learn from this person. And it's not like every time I see somebody, I'm always like, oh yeah, I have to figure them out and I have to learn every single thing about them. However, it does become a thing of like, if every time I initiate a conversation with you and I'm like, hey, so how's things going? Yada yada, and it's literally the same generic answer, nothing, just working. Then I'm going to get bored. I want to get bored. Like that's why I'm so grateful to my new soul bestie. Like I'm so grateful to them. Like every time we talk, it's something that we both get excited for, and we both like want to dig deeper into and say, "Oh, well, you know that? That's awesome. I didn't know that, but I did know this. Like, oh, I didn't know that, but I knew this. But oh, that's cool. Well, I didn't know that either. But let's look more and see if we can find more information about. Like, literally, we're just scouring for like more and more clues and more information and more knowledge. Just always just digging deeper to understand more stuff and understand ourselves better. And a lot of people don't have that wherewithal or that type of self awareness to be like, I know I don't know everything, but I do want to learn if I can possibly learn everything. And even with the understanding that I won't be able to learn everything, like what I do learn is going to be beneficial. It's going to be awesome, even if it's not going to, do what society says it should. But every information is about getting money, getting profit. But no, knowledge is power, dude. Like, like power in knowledge is incredible. Like to be able to just be like, huh, I literally can walk in any type of room and I can give every person in there a fun fact that they may or may not have known before or may not have considered. And that's dope. That's so dope. And the fact that like they can also in turn all those people can give me fun facts that I might not have known of or might not have learned that I can dig into deeper. Like it's dope. That's so dope. That's so fire. So and also like talking to different people about their conspiracy theories and stuff. Like if you don't have a conspiracy theory, like at this day and age, like I will be like, all right, I thank you for letting me not waste my time because I like, come on, we gotta be like some type of like we gotta be some type of thinking outside the box here, people. Like I mean, come on, all the CI documents that they released and saying all the stuff that's out there, like all the cryptics and all the science and like uh, astral projection and tele telepathic projections and astral plane traveling and actually remote viewing other planets and other people. Like we can't keep acting like just because we live inside of brick houses and we drive these motorized cars and we in planes that we still don't really truly understand how planes fly. Uh, we just get on them and just go. But like act like, oh yeah, Stranger Things is amazing. All these supernatural things are amazing. All these like isekai animes are amazing, and not pick two and two together and saying like, oh yeah, that's right, energy, consciousness is energy, and that means our consciousness is energy out inside and outside this physical form, which means even if this physical form, this projection physical form dies, our consciousness is not going to die. Our consciousness is energy, and energy just changes into a different form of matter. So, like, why y'all afraid of anything? Because y'all could just keep jumping to either different timelines of this reality, of this physical aspect, or reincarnated as something else. Be a butterfly, be a rock, be a fluorescent light bulb. Like, who cares? Um, so but the thing is, when it comes down to like to bring that back into what I was talking about with sex and sexuality, who cares what you do with your body if you're comfortable doing whatever you want to do with your body. And that also pertains to whoever you want to do it with. As long as it's consensual, as long as both or all parties are consensual about it, then who cares who you're doing whatever you're doing with? Because let's be clear, orgasms and um like orgasms, enjoyment, fun, all this is just dopamine releasing, is like endorphins being released. Like all this is just like chemicals being released in your brain to say, "Hey, this is awesome. We would like to do this again." That's all. That's all it does. That's all it does. So why would you be hung up on who gave you an orgasm when the whole fact of the matter is you want to achieve an orgasm? It don't make sense. Now understand this. I understand preferences. I do understand preferences. Like I get like, hey, maybe your preference isn't for a certain type of body type or a certain type of odor or a certain type of like personality or something like that. I get that. But when it comes down to, if I've heard stories of many people having accidental orgasms, and now this is not like any like non-consensual thing, just like a massage that went absolutely right, or um a bumpy ride on like um a bumpy road or something like that, or a motorcycle ride, like the fucking scene from Talladega Nights and shit, which I love quoting so much. The vibrations are moving up my legs. Like, Molly Shannon is so funny. I like, she is hilarious. She is so funny. I'm so mad at society because the only reason why she's not like a household name, like really big, is because of her face. And the fact of that is, people didn't find her attractive. Hence why her first movie was her role of that weird awkward girl from Saturday Night Live that kept on smelling her armpits. Because that's how everybody see her. Like, oh, she's that weird autistic girl who just smell her armpits but knows a lot of the fun facts. It just is very adorable. Very, very adorable. Like, and that was just her role. She's like a 40-year-old person who was just like, oh yeah, that's just her. But she's an awesome actress. She's an awesome comedian. But anyway, digressing. Speaking of which, it was so great. This is why I'm like so happy, because not why I was so happy, but so many things are like being brought to my attention. And I think I told a story previously about how my thing is, my personal preferences are films and individuals that identify as film. That's my preference. That's a, have I, of course, clearly had penises in my mouth and in my hands? Yes, of course. I don't have no problem with that. However, if it's a choice for me to say, like, if I'm going to go on a prowl or going to go on a hunt or going to go on a tangent of sexual revolution of the ages, then I'm going to try to make sure that the demographic that's in the room, even if it's a whole big orgy thing, the demographic in the room is going to be a demographic where it's more labia majoris than there are of penile distinction. So that's just how it is. Now, if a penis just flew past my face, now, am I saying like I'm not going to suck it? Who knows? I don't know. Depends on what the mood strikes. Doesn't matter. But at the same time, yeah, that's not my preference. However, I will say, at the age of 16, pivotal year, like I told you, said it previously, this is when the year all this started. All this, everything was pretty much started. Because first it was with the male person I was intimate with. Then it went to me getting a job, and then being with the person I was in the age of 23 when I was 16. Then it went to me being 18, and then telling that story of being with his little sister, who's 2 years younger than me. And then also that same year as 18, being with the 28-year-old that was at church that I was going to, that my mom dragged me to. So, I mean, it's all about perspective. See the bright side of everything. But at the same time, when I was 16, a lot of stuff was also before I, was before started watching porn, before I actually was intimate, before I actually penetrated a vagina of the 23-year-old. Um, the first, like, it was a lot of mixed, of course, PB, yada, 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 but it was a lot of stuff going on. First and foremost, one of the things that was going on, I can't remember when I watched this movie. So I'm gonna bring it up. I can't remember the date when I watched the movie. I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't remember. But I do remember when I was 16, season 4 of Boy Meets World changed so much for me because, all right, first and foremost, season 4 was when they were still in, like, high school and stuff like that. But this was the episode when Sean decided to cross dress to do an expose on how boys treated girls. And that scene, that whole episode, it felt like I was the dean from Community, where I was just like, I hope this doesn't awaken something in me. Because I was like smitten. I was like I felt like, here's the thing. As a viewer watching Boy Meets World, because as y'all, if you haven't, if cannot tell by now, like, Boy Meets World was a pivotal uh show for me growing up. Like, if I'm not talking about Boy Meets World, I'm talking about um Dragon Ball Z, because I love the dynamic of how the characters, like, grow and change, and they learn lessons, and they build a family around themselves by the core, like, morals of who they are. But yeah, when when the character of Sean dressed up, and I think he called himself Veronica, um, and it was so endearing and so adorable because Corey was trying to name him, and he was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. And, like, Topanga was like, Sean, have you thought about a name for yourself? And it was so great because I always love their threesome dynamic. Because let's be clear and be honest, they were in a throuple relationship. I don't care what anybody say. This whole show of Boy Meets World was literally the first real, like, poly relationship that spawned, like, expanded from, like, what grade did they start in? I think they started in, like, 7th or 8th grade in the show. That's when the show first started, in, like, 7th or 8th grade, and then it went all the way to, like, them being in college and everything they learned from that, from, like, base, like, it was the whole first, like, 2 or 3 seasons of that. But Corey talked about baseball. That was it. It was just he was just talking about the Philadelphia Phillies. That was all he kept talking about throughout the whole first 3 seasons, and then season 4 was like, oh, sex. He was like, cause, like, yeah, that's when Topanga started getting, like, they start. She's changed from, like, the wall sunflower to, like, she got the haircut to the point where Sean, literally, the episode with Sean was literally like, she's my best friend's girlfriend. She's my best. Like, he had to chant out loud next to his best friend. That's my best friend's girlfriend. That's my best friend. He was like, fuck it, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Like, and Corey didn't even stop him. Corey didn't start like, hey, like. Well, first of all, let's just be all right. I'm not even gonna go there no more. But fucking love that show. Anyway, so saying that, I was like, okay, clearly, this is where this is going. And because I was like, for me, I wasn't trying to fuck the character Sean, but seeing him in the dress and makeup, I was like, I've been that over. I've been that over quickly. Like, yeah, absolutely. As long as I get consent, I'm cool with it. And that's the whole dynamic went. I was just always in the whole background of my mind of thinking, like, yeah, I want to be able to have, like, a thruple type scenario. If I'm Corey or if I'm Sean, one or the other, it didn't really matter. Just as long as it's like this 3-way type of container where it's like I can have my best friends, and one of them is in a relationship with me, and the other one, well, they both were in a relationship with Corey, and then eventually they started getting a relationship with each other because they started doing episodes where it was just Corey. I'm sorry, just Topanga and Sean, And then that's when they was like, "Uh-oh, this is getting too much like a throuple. We gotta bring in Angela," which was also dope for me because I was like, "Yeah, now Angela's a part of this like throuple, and Angela's cool with Topanga, which is dope because now they're off with their adventures while the boys are off with their adventures. But then sometimes Corey and Angela would hang out, and I'm like, yeah, that just makes sense. That just makes sense. And then of course, as I'm getting older, and like now I'm like in my 60s, 70s, 80s, I'm getting older. Now I find D&D again because I was watching the D&D cartoon when I was a kid. I just never realized, oh, it's a whole game system. I just thought it was a cartoon about a game system that went wrong, which basically, once again, isekai. I don't understand why so many people got problems with isekais now. Because we've been growing up on isekais all our life. Between Dungeons and Dragon cartoon, between Wizard of Oz first and foremost. Wizard of Oz is the first isekai. I don't care what anybody says. Like her consciousness went out her body after she suffered a traumatic experience of a fucking hurricane, and her consciousness went to a whole new fantasy world where she had to gain fucking companions, she had to level up, and she went on a quest. Like that's a fucking isekai. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get excited. I'm, I'm just I don't understand why people shit on isekai. Because all isekais are is just stories of just fucking reincarnation or energy transporting to another state of matter. Like that's all it is. But anyway, digress. Um, so yeah, I was just so after learning about D&D and learning, oh yeah, it's a whole group of people playing role playing fantasy. I was like, well, why can't we do adult stuff as well? Like, so hence my mindset was always waiting to the whole point. I was like, okay, so cool. We can play D&D, and while we're playing D&D, we can talk about sexual things, and we can like have our characters do sexual things. Like, cool, cool, cool. Until it got to a point where I'm playing these games with these people, and they're like, well, why you gotta bring up sex? Because sex is a part of life. Why aren't you bringing up sex? Like, I don't get it. Like, oh, because you afraid you will get horny and you don't want to get have blue balls. Okay, then here's the solution for that. We're all friends. We all pretty much have sex with each other because now this is going into me being like my early 20s type thing. And basically, my early 20s, my friend group that I was with, basically everybody slept with everybody. But in that bullshit, boring ass societal norm shit. Oh, if we gotta be boyfriend and girlfriend, we gotta put in the girlfriend. We put pick up girlfriend. And then after 3 to 6 months, we broke up because we're not compatible. When we fuck like jackrabbits, everybody heard us fucking like jackrabbits. But now, somebody else is going to come in and be like, oh, y'all broke up. That sucks because I mean, you're such a great person, and now I mean, it's horrible. Oh, you think I'm a great person? I think you're a great person. I know that's why we've been hanging out for the last 4 years. Oh, I guess we should have sex now too. Okay, now the person who's not having sex is all mad because how you going to have sex with the person I was just having sex with? Because they chose to have sex, weirdo. But why not just have sex with them? Why not be like, hey, listen, I know we was mad at each other. I know we didn't work out in that regard, but we did work out in the orgasm part, if they did. And they'd be like, yo, why don't we just all join forces and have like a fucking team up fucking threesome? And then if they other people want to join it too, why not? Because here's the thing. That's how tea parties started in the past. That's how it started in the past. That's how key parties started. Key parties was two people got together and was like, hey, I enjoy having sex with you and being intimate with you, having quittance with you. Then they invited more people over and was like, hey, we should have sex with each other. Because that's what we like doing. Y'all like having sex? They like, yeah, we like having sex. Y'all want to have sex with us? Sure, why not? They started having sex. Then they started going around the neighborhood. Hey, you know, the deacons and the organs are having sex with each other, we should go over there and hang out with them and see if we can have sex with them. All right, now the Frosters are having sex with them. And then the whole block is like, hey, let's go over and hang out. Then they're like, you know what? Everybody keep choosing the same person to have sex with. Let's just freshen this up a little bit. Let's throw some keys in the pot. And whoever threw a house key in, another person that's not their person could go in there and grab a key and see what happens. Just roll the dice. Just see what happens. Just play a little game plot. Tea party. It's not rocket science, people. It's just adults doing the same thing, just with more knowledge and wisdom and understanding of the consequences that could happen. Hence, being proactive about who you are and what you do with your body. Because the thing is, every uneducated black hole will always want to start this conversation. Anytime anyone talk about sex, oh, cheating, oh, STD. Well, guess what, weirdo? Yeah, you gonna be cheated on, or you gonna have an STD if you doing stuff in the dark. Because that's the whole. That's why so much of stuff is going on because nobody is talking about it. Y'all can't act like, oh, we need to change stuff, but y'all don't want to change the thing that needs to be changed. The whole point of the conversation of sex and sexuality, like, it don't make sense. Because the more people who actually are open and honest about their sexuality are the ones who are actually open and honest enough to be like, yeah, I get checked out every single time I'm about to get intimate with a partner. And then I get checked out every single time after I get intimate with a partner. Like, because your body should be valued. And as well as not just inwardly as a selfish thing about protecting yourself, you should also want to protect the people that you want to be involved with in an intimate way. Because clearly, if they're good enough for any guy to stick their dick in or any person to like re enter them, then they should also value the fact that like we want to keep each other safe. Hence why we should talk about these things. We should have conversations about things. What do you like? What don't you like? What words are good words to create to have safe words, and what words are bad words that's going to trigger you that makes you not want to think about sex at all? So I know these things, so I can avoid saying those words, so we can keep having sex, and I can also say the good words that are fucking just red stop lines and saying, hey, nope, that's my cutoff point. Yeah, I mean, so this is a conversation we should be having. Instead, society tells you, no, 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 no. Just like you watch these movies, go, you meet somebody that you think's attractive, you go fuck them, and then you don't talk to them ever again, or you talk to them after you fuck them, and then you're like, oh, I really didn't like that. You get on your head about it, like, oh, did I really? Did... I'm not going to mention that. Nope, sorry. I got too close to a personal story that somebody else told me. So nope. But if somebody like sucks your earlobe and you're like, I'm not really into this, get my earlobes sucked. That's not my thing. Then, like, if you told somebody that before they actually did it, then it wouldn't be an awkward thing because now you feel awkward because like, oh, that might be their move, and then they like, well, they wasn't giving me the response. I was just trying something new, and they wasn't giving me a response. So now y'all not talking about the thing that y'all should be talking about because y'all avoid the subject, and everything just start getting weird and awkward because now y'all start to keep secrets. And you should never want to keep secrets in a relationship. Now, I'm not saying that you need to tell your significant other every single thing about you. That will come in time. That will come in time eventually, possibly. However, like if it doesn't pop up, it's not lying. It's not omitting. It's just, hey, how can? It's so funny because I was talking to my soul bestie about it. I was like, it's so interesting and fascinating about trying to share everything with somebody, like verbally, like story wise, or like, just concept wise, when you're doing it in chunks. So, meaning, like, if I'm having like 15-minute conversation, I can't share everything that I want to share about a topic that I want to talk about in 15 minutes, and then wait another 45 minutes to an hour just to say another 15-minute chunk of everything. Hence, that's what I mean. So, like, yeah, over time, eventually, when conversation comes naturally, stuff will pop back up. And if you do want to bring it up, bring it up. But it's so weird when people were like, well, you never told me that. They were lying because they never told me. No, they just never told you because it either never came up in conversation or yada, yada, yada. Oh, a person can only perceive by their perspective what's important at the moment that they think is important. That's that one individual's concept of what's important. Somebody else could like not. Hence, what I'm trying to say is, I could be like, you know what? I'm allergic to tree nut oil, and never tell anybody that ever. And then I never talk about it because I don't bring it up because I know to avoid it, and I never like have it in my system or around me. But then somebody else who I don't know, just meet, we talked about, anything and everything, and the next thing I know, they bring up, they bring something that has a whole chunk full of tree nut oil in it, and then I eat it, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm dying. What's going? And they're like, you never told me. It's like, cause it never came up. But here's the epinephrine or yada yada yada, whatever, like allergies, whatever you need for allergies. I don't know because I don't have allergies. Well, I'm just making that up. But anyway, um, like something like that, some case scenarios like that. That's what I mean. Now, I'm not. I know somebody's gonna try to move the goalpost and be like, "What about somebody who had a whole separate family?" I'm not saying all that. I literally you gave an example. And that's the example I'm sticking with. I'm not moving the goalpost. If you got a problem with it, figure your own stuff out. That's what I'm talking about on my thing. But anyway, so my whole agenda, literally for years, decades, like 20s, 30s, even recently early 40s, even though I'm literally always at the midway point of 45 in like a couple of months, like 5 months. But like, it was always a thing. I even said this like a couple. I remember I met this cool like couple. And I was driving. They played D&D. They was also in the kid community and stuff like that. So I was telling them my whole. I told them my whole spiel. I was like, yeah, I love D&D. I love like I write erotica. My whole dream scenario is playing a D&D campaign, like bringing up erotica and stuff like that. Everybody feels comfortable with doing it because we talked about it at Game Zero, so everybody's cool with doing the, yada yada yada. And then afterwards, we have a big ass orgy. If everybody gives consent, we have a big ass orgy. And there you go. That would be like the schedule. Like every like week or every 2 weeks or whatever like that, whatever the game goes into play or the campaign goes into effect. Afterwards, we like fucking have an orgy. And that's the schedule thing. And you don't have to participate every time. You can if you want to, but it's just that's what it is. That's always been the the mindset for my best friend group was always that. Nobody's like in a relationship if they don't deem to be, or we could just say that this is our poly group D&D group relationship or like that. Yeah, yeah, it don't matter because labels can be changed and altered at any time. But as long as everybody's consenting, who gives a fuck what it's called? Anyway, we call it Torchwood for all I fucking care. 'Cause literally, that's all Torchwood was. Torchwood was literally a D&D group that fucked each other or wanted to fuck each other. But they should have just all fucked each other. Because Captain Jack would have fucked all of them. He would have gladly fucked all of them. Not a problem. Like, not a problem. And we already know Owen and Gwen, they were fuck. Well, here's the thing. All right, I'm not going to go in about Gwen because this will be a whole 4 hour podcast. And I can't stand her character. I can't stand her character. I'll say that. I'll say that for another podcast. Like if 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 the character of Sue Storm Richards didn't exist, then I would call women Gwen Coopers. Like I would call them Gwen Coopers because I can't stand her character. See, I stopped watching Torchwood because of her character. Like I rewatched it again. I actually finished the whole series of Torchwood again. Like I'm actually like this game is. I felt her throb in my brain because I thought about it. Like that's I'm going to change the subject. I can't stand her character. Um. So yeah, like that was always my thing. So after watching porn, learning about porn, another thing about porn that like stimulated my special interest was the story plot line. Like my uncle, Virgo uncle, he used to have In Loving Color, which In Loving Color was a parody of triple X parody of In Living Color. So that's where I actually seen my very, very first and still like adult artist crush, Heather Hunter. Oh my goodness. Heather Hunter was the epitome of everything I've ever hoped for in a partner. Um, her physique, her you already know I got a thing for foreheads, so like of course I'll go into that in depth more. Like the fact that foreheads was the whole thing when I was a child. Seeing a forehead, a large forehead, was also equated to the women who were very, 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 very intelligent. So large foreheads meant highly intelligent to me. And then I was a lot of alien sci-fi stuff where a lot of the women had large foreheads because they were alien, but they was also highly intelligent. So large foreheads or five heads was always an attraction to me because I always thought that they were very clever and I always wanted to have clever partners. It was later in my teens, in my 20s, when I realized large craniums do not equal high intelligence or high intellect. Um, so that sucks. But that still was, it still is kind of like a appeal. Like I still like large foreheads. Like once again, Sade but it's not even like a negative thing. It's my thing. Like some people like big butts. Some people like titties. And I like those too. I enjoy those too. But I like foreheads. I don't know. It's an intellect thing. Even though I know it has nothing to do with intellect, it just still it's my thing. So that's where it's at. But anyway, so I feel like only reason I'm saying this, I'm going so hard trying to explain because I'm really like I did mention so many names of all these people I do like and I find attractive, and I'm trying not to mention because I want to. Okay, there's somebody who I actually haven't I haven't shared my podcast with, and I was thinking not talking, I was thinking about sharing my podcast with them, and I I know that she talks about her forehead a lot, and I'm like, boo, no, like it's pretty, like it's. But at the same time, I'm not even. Never mind. I'm going to share my podcast with them, and whatever happens, happens. That's where I'm at right now. I'm just the wind. I'm a Gemini, so I'm an air sign. Just the wind. Wherever the wind takes me, that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm grateful for it. So anyway, um, Heather Hunter was. Heather Hunter is actually a Gemini. So actually, I think I can't remember what they do now. Which she because I think she got definitely out of the business. She started doing something. But I can't, she started rapping at one point. She was actually a rapper at one point. I don't know if it actually got anywhere outside her city. I don't know if it got anywhere outside her city. I know that I didn't know that I was still a child, so I was not I was still like in my teens and 20s or like that. So it wasn't like I was really searching for it like I can search on the internet now and stuff. But I mean, I could definitely search for it now on the internet if I want to. But um, I think I mentioned on the podcast that my younger cousin actually met her one day. He went to a trip with his class to Washington D.C. and I think he was like sitting on a bench somewhere and just chilling with his class. And then she kind of like walked up and walked past, and he was like, "Oh my god, I know you." He's like, "My cousin has a crush on you." Oh my god! And apparently he like she stopped and she talked to him and she was like, okay, like she had like a whole conversation with him and everything, and like walked off and said like tell your cousin like thanks for being a fan or something like that. And he was like the star like of his class trip because all of his classmates like, oh my god, who's that like really attractive woman? He's like, oh no, that's the porn actress. But he's like, oh my god, you watch porn? Like he was like giving them all this tidbits because I was giving them all this like information and I showed them like porn that she was in and stuff like that. It was great. It was a great memory for him, and a offshoot, great, slightly okay memory for me because he got to meet her. I didn't get to meet her. I just got to live through his experience by him telling me. But anyway, um, and also she was a she's a I keep saying what she's a Gemini, I believe, and she was just a giver, dude. Like she was a giver in the scenes. Like it didn't matter who she was in a scene with, how many people was in a scene with her. She always made sure that she gave whoever she was like involved with her full intention. Like it was, she was chef's kiss, chef's kiss. Like I loved her scenes, loved her scenes. And then I eventually started moving into like other different because I eventually because at the same time Heather Hunter kind of reminded me of like Aaliyah's older sister. So it was always kind of that thing too, because that's why another thing was like body types always kind of wasn't really a factor for me. It was always about energy and always about like the soul, I guess. Because at that time, I would say, I guess. Now I know that's what it is for a fact. But at the time, it was like I if let me phrase this the right way. If I felt a connection or a bond or even the point of feeling some type of like camaraderie between me and the person, then I was like, huh, I wonder what it would be like to be intimate with them. Like if it was like if we shared the joke and we just kind of like, huh, we had a shared moment. I'm like, I wonder what our conversation would be physically. I would wonder that. Like, so it's always been like that concept with me. Like, and then the more and more I started gravitating to thinking about multiple things at once, or thinking about different concepts of the multiverse, yada yada. Then it started just it turned into like the giggle loop from like coupling again, except for it was like the Jeff factor, where it's like instead of it being the nudity window, where the first 5 minutes you think about all the disgustoid stuff in your head before you like say it to like introduce yourself to the person, like to kind of get it out the way. My thing was always like everyone had a blank slate, and then when I first had a conversation with them, then I would like have their personality archetype filed away into like my database or like that, and then it becomes this like branching off multiverse of different scenarios that could possibly happen between that. Like basically the scenes from everywhere, everything everywhere all at once, where um Joy and the mom and the daughter was basically in the apartment, and they just kept on shifting to like laughing and joking, pulling each other's hair, fighting with swords, baking fucking pancakes. You know that shift. Like it was. That's how my mind works when I see people and I interact with people. Like it's like, oh, everything that I can possibly think of in my omniverse or omniverse is what's expanding in my head. However, the things that I'm experiencing in real life are the things that I get to cherish in this timeline because I can think of all the things I can think of personally in my head, and the individual that I'm thinking about could be thinking about all the possibilities they could be thinking about in their head. But until the two of us come together and we create whatever we're going to create from our different perspectives together with each other, it's going to spawn and create a whole new amalgamation of multiverses that we could not have created singly without the other one contributing to ideas or experiences or what have you. So when I look at people and I'm like, huh, I like you and I want to spend more time with you and I want to engage and talk to you more, then just just to be clear, I've already thought about sex in our head already. Not to say that I want to do it or I want to pursue it, but if I tell you I'm comfortable with you, then more than likely it's me saying I'm comfortable enough to like be intimate with you. Now, once again, that is not an invitation. That was just me saying who I am and how I am and how I function. However, I haven't had sex with everybody that I know, and that's not something I want to do. That's not something I'm pursuing. Actually, right now, I'm not pursuing anybody at all right now. I do have people who I find attractive. I do have people that I would love to be intimate with, but at the same time, that's not where I'm at right now. I'm honestly, I'm. I don't want to sound cliche, like I'm saving myself, but I'm kind of saving myself. Like I'm kind of just waiting for my forever like partner or partners to pop up and say they want me. At the same time, I am flattered and I am here to receive any uh, terms of endearment, if you will, of people who are interested in me. Um, I'm not saying I'm going to accept every offer, but I'm not saying I'm going to turn offers down. I'm just saying I'm not pursuing people. If you want to pursue me, go for it. I'm open. Actually, it was adorable because somebody actually approached me last night, and it was so great. It was so cute, and it was adorable. Like like I said, I am strictly for films and individuals that identify as films. Um, but once again, it's always my preference and choice of if I accept or decline any offers. But even that being stated, it was really cute. Like it was just like a hey, and I was like hello, because I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know what people's agendas are. Is they like confess like they asked me a question? They was like, hey, are you straight? And I'm like, technically no, because like, is anybody technically straight? Because once again, I do feel like if you believe it's a choice, then you're choosing to be straight, which means you're choosing to only mess with women, if or you're only choosing to mess with guys. If you're a woman and say you're straight, or and you think it's a choice, or if you're a guy and say you're straight, you think it's a choice. You're just choosing to mess with the opposite sex. So that's my take on it. Like I feel like everybody has like a sexuality spectrum. It's just about their choice of what they don't want to do or not allow themselves to do. I don't have those limitations on me. I don't care. I just have preferences of saying, I just I like vagina. I do. I like vagina. So um yeah, sorry, but not sorry. Like just yeah. Like now here's the thing. Boy Meets World rules, or the movie Threesome. The movie Threesome was really what solidified that fact for me. Because I was just like, I can't remember which Baldwin brother it was. I can't remember which Baldwin brother it was. But it was also the which color from um Twin Peaks and a couple other shows. Which it was funny because I always thought she was Parker Posey for a minute. For a minute, like I fell in love with Parker Posey, but I thought she was Parker Posey. But like two movies, I think. Like two movies. I was like, hey, Parker Posey. And I was like, wait, that's not Parker Posey. She looked like Parker Posey, but it's not Parker Posey. But yeah, she was in threesome with another actor, and I can't remember the other Baldwin brother that was in it. But the movie was fantastic. It was dope. Like, the dude loved vagina, but he was okay with exploring with his male friend because his male friend was in love with him. And he was like, I mean, I'll take one for the team. But it was also okay because while he was taking one for the team, he was also, giving some out. Yeah, I mean, so he was, receiving stuff as well. So it was one of those type of elements. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm always going to be the giver. I'm not going to be the receiver. But yeah, like, cool with that. Because I don't trust anybody to be back there yet. And when I trust somebody, then we can discuss it. But until then, no, no, this is only for me. It's only for me and my forever partner. But yeah. So we had a very interesting conversation last night and this morning. Actually, it was really cool because I let them know I'm like I'm not saying that I'm going to indulge, but I can allow you some of my sexual energy because I'm like, why should I deny you your pleasure when it's something that you crave from me? And, like, even though it's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go meet you now and we're gonna do stuff together. Yeah, no, but I can like send you stuff. I can send you like a dick pic. Send you a dick pic if that's your consent. Like if you consent to that, I'm like, yeah, you want to see more of me. You want to have a more visual representation of your desire. Like who am I to deny you? Like that'd be for me. For me, this is my personal alignment. I think I would be weird if it would be a thing if somebody told me, oh, they like me, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, and just walk away. Like I know how that feels. I know how that feels to be like, hey, I have a crush on you. And they're like, okay, thanks, and then just leave. And I was just like, oh, 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 okay, all right. Well, at least I know now. Like that's the only benefit I get. Like at least I know that you don't like me, and I can move on. Cool. But like for other people that do that to me, which is very rare, no one comes to me and be like, Troy, I like you. Like no one does that. No one's like, this is honestly, I can say maybe two other people, two other people might have distinctly told me that they have a thing for me. But everybody else beats around the bush and make me try to gleam or do detective work to try to figure out if they like me or not. And I'm like, I don't work that way. I don't know. I think you're just being nice. I think you're being polite. And I, I thank you. I thank you for being polite, but I'm confused. I'm confused. It was actually kind of funny too, because being confused and misinterpreting stuff is so easy. Like me and my bestie like went through something similar like the other day. It was nothing crazy. It was just um they were talking about what they're doing, and I was like, I can't wait. I can't wait because I want to tell you everything. But me saying I can't wait, I want to tell you everything. It was misconstrued as thinking like I want to tell you everything, everything. And I was like, oh no, 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 no. I meant everything, as in the topic of discussion of what we're talking about here. Everything I know, not everything of like, oh yeah, I want to confess everything, blah blah blah, and Hail Marys and blah 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 blah. No, like no, just the topic of religion and spirituality and yada yada is so fascinating to me, and so like everything is fascinating to me because I feel like everything is important, everything's connected, and everything's important. Because if one thing's important and it's connected to everything, then everything's important. So, yeah, it was just, it was really great. It was an interesting night, interesting morning, and honestly, regardless of whatever happens, it's entertaining. And because it was funny, because I was literally thinking, I was like, I'm not sure if this is a trap, and this is just like because in my head, and this is what I used to say back in the day, like not back in the day, but like this is what I used to say like all last year. Like it's 2025. Like I don't understand why people are still hung up on the whole gay, straight, or whatever thing. Like at this point, it is what it is. But it was interesting because I was like, I don't know if this is a honey pot trap type thing, and they just try to like get me to say stuff or reveal stuff so they can try to blackmail me later, or if this is a true thing or not. But either way, it's not going to affect me in any way. This is all entertainment for me. So it was interesting. It was funny, and I'm curious to see what pans out from that. I did say I would like consider after getting to know each other better if we like a threesome or something like that. I'm okay with that. So it was, but it's just it's fascinating. And then I also today was so proud because one of my like companions, well, they're my platonic, they're my non-platonic platonic friend right now, only because of long distance. Like as soon as every time when we know, we both know, essentially we both know that when we see each other, like it's gonna be like two werewolves and a full moon, and it's gonna be great. But like at this point, we're just in two different areas and stuff like that. So when I get my wagon RV or like the attachment, um, and just start traveling, yeah, they are definitely one of my first stops to see their new place and to enjoy the time that we didn't have together in that moment. So it's gonna be great. Anyway, I'm proud of them because their life is changing for the better and is constant progression going forward. And I can't, my cheeks hurt because like I'm talking about them and I'm just so happy and I'm so proud and I'm excited. Like this, it's gonna be great. This is amazing. Um, I literally just went to my comic book store. I'm not sure if anybody is who's listening to this one follows my Instagram, but today was an author. Um, let's say her name was Nicole. Hold on, Nicole Glover. Um, she's the author of The Conductors. She's has another book series out called The Star Seekers, and it's a part of a murder and magic novel. Um, she's a very interesting individual. Like I really enjoyed communicating with them earlier today and having a conversation with them. It was really nice. It was really pleasant. It was really great. I'm hoping and looking forward to us communicating more in the future, and hopefully becoming um, friends and better acquainted as platonic friends. So yeah, it was really nice. They're like really nice. Their biography is their biography to share and tell. But definitely, if you are looking for a new um, series made from somebody from the African diaspora, um, then definitely check her out. Look her up on Instagram. I'm not sure if you got any other socials up or like that, but Nicole Glover. Yeah. So that was great. That was dope. Because I always love supporting. Because all right, as somebody who is a writer myself and somebody who like is literally doing a podcast, I understand creating something and wanting it to be out in the world for people to admire and embrace and to love on stuff like that. Um, so I get that, and that's why I always like supporting every local writer that I can possibly like support, and every other like person that I feel aligned with supporting and stuff. So because once again, treat people the way you want to be treated, and that's what I do. So that was that was a great experience um, with meeting them, and I'm looking forward to reading their books. Actually, I want to go to the laundromat to do laundry, so I'll have some time to crack open one of the books and kind of check it out and see where they're going. Because I mean, at this point, it's snow on the ground. It was raining early today, so I thought it was gonna be like a rainy day, like a cold rainy day. So I was like, all right, that'll be a cool day to like get some hot tea and like read a murder mystery and stuff like that. And it still is like snow makes it even better actually. But but I'm gonna I'm gonna go do some laundry after I finish the podcast. And get some more wine and yeah, probably get some wine, drink some wine, and then drink some tea and stuff like that, some dandelion tea, and just kind of chill. But so digressing from that lovely cozy reading session I'm gonna be having later, um, it got to a point where later rewinding back to when I was a youth again, it was a thing about just I started to enjoy and find the dynamic of my choice of saying, yeah, I'm choosing to engage with anybody and everybody who seems to be um, willing and consenting to, allow me to enter them because it was honestly just a cry for acceptance and a cry for a yearning for a connection. The same thing I've been yearning for this whole time till recently. Or just like I just if it happens, it happens. But at this point, I just kind of want to go in the woods and be alone. Like I just do. But it's so interesting now that I'm at that point where it's just like all this is just entertainment. Like if you come up, like come correct, but I will definitely reciprocate whatever energy you give me, and like, but what I'm giving out myself is just love. So understand that it's going to be a love bomb of like reciprocation of whatever energy you give back, even if it's not a affectionate love. It's going to be an unconditional love. So, because even with people that feel some type of way and want to argue with me, like I still say, come towards me, come find me, because I'll give you a hug. Because it just sounds like you just need a hug. Because why are you upset? And why are you upset with me? Like you just said, like you need a hug, and I'm willing to give you a hug. I'm open to giving hugs. I love hugs. Everybody should have a hug. So yeah, I thought I just seen a flash of the person I was talking about earlier of the person I got a crush on and I want to share my podcast with later. But it wasn't no, it was another person with another with the similar three letters of their name as the first three letters of their name. So it's funny. Oh man, but anyway, I'm not even like nervous about it, which is the funny thing. It's not that I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm giggling like I'm nervous because regardless of what happens, is going to happen. So it doesn't matter. But it's just I guess the giddiness comes from the fact that like yeah, I never really thought to think long term about thinking about telling them about the podcast or them even learning that I had a thing for them. Because I actually communicated with them a lot. Like I actually, I actually talk to them. I actually go like I they have a thing where they turn off their comments on their page on their Instagram page a lot, but sometimes they keep their comments on. So the times that they keep the comments on, like I'll occasionally like say something like that. It was to the point where it was so funny. I actually rallied some of her fan base to be like, "We'll buy you stuff," because she always want to say like she's poor, which I'm not saying that she's not. Or like she has her livelihood. Yeah, 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 yeah. But like I'm like you're well known enough to ask for help, and I'm not sure if she feels comfortable asking for help. Cause like she never like I rallied the troops and underneath her post I was like like I I'm pretty sure if you make an Amazon wish list a bunch of people will buy your wish list like buy you stuff on your wish list like you just gotta make a wish list you just gotta ask. I was like I'm not doing it because I didn't have the money at the time. I didn't like this is I'm still building up my income and my capital. But I was like I'm sure somebody, and then a whole bunch of people started following in behind my messages like hell yeah, like if you put up a Amazon post, I'll buy the shit. Because I'm like there's gotta be some like, and I'm not saying some in a derogatory manner, but it's some dude and women who are sipping for you that'll be like, I'll do anything that you ask me for type shit. And I'm like, if they're willing, if they're consenting to willingly do that, then let them do it. Let them do it. That's how I feel about it. But she never replied. She never said anything to my message or the people who was replying to my message. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And they always saying like, yeah, we'll do it. Like we'll do it. We'll buy you whatever you want. It was so funny. But yeah. I don't even know where I started on this. So anyway, um, so growing up, it was a thing. After watching porn, after discovering, because apparently I'm Christopher Columbus. Apparently, when it comes to discovering penises going to vagina, after like like watching those movies, watching the porn, and realize that, and then seeing the different concepts of stories and tales and like when I was like, okay, so wait, you're telling me that life is more realistic than actual television and movies. And the reason why I say life is more realistic than television and movies is because, and also some comic books, is because the fact that people have sex in the real world. People are having coitus. They're being intimate in the real world. Even if that's not everybody's jam. If it's not everybody, because we do know there are people that are asexual. Honestly, at this point, I'm not asexual. I'm not even going to try to say that. Well, I know other people are becoming asexual that I know, but like, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I get it. Some people don't have a that chemical balance or imbalance, depending on how you look at it, to crave the or desire the physical flesh of another person. So, like, I get that. But at the same time, just because that's a percentage of a certain amount of people that don't do that, and there's another smaller percentage of people who are either virgins or born again virgins, or they have whatever doctrine or whatever like that that they believe in that doesn't allow them to partake in certain things. That's cool. Like, but for the rest of us, for those who want to have sex and probably aren't having sex, or want to have sex and are having sex, or ones who don't even think about sex because they're constantly just having sex automatically, like, that's real life for us. That's why I love Torchwood so much, because it was a real concept. Like, people were fucking. Like, people were actually, they were working, they were playing, and they were fucking. That's why I like fucking Torchwood, because it was real life. There was real stakes. People died. This is the whole continuum of what life is. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Doctor Who. Love Doctor Who, but Doctor Who was a kids show. Torchwood was a show for young adults that was in the Doctor Who continuum. That's what Torchwood is, and was what it was. Just like the Sarah Jane. Like, if you want to look at it in like an aspect of the ratio, what Doctor Who, the world of Doctor Who was, literally as an adolescent, as a child, as a kindergarten, going up to like, yeah, I guess second or third grade. That's Sarah Jane. That's Sarah Jane. That's Sarah Jane all the way. Just kids being kids fighting alien threats, but it's whimsical, but it also has some dark elements to it that's going to make you think. But it's just enough that is for the kids. Then it's Doctor Who for like grade fucking 4 to fucking basically high school, or whatever, or like a little bit mid high school over, and then Torchwood was basically the end of high school to fucking college. That's what it was. Class was somewhere in the middle. Class was like between like like high school and like, it was kind of, class was basically just high school. Class was like 14, like four, not four, freshman year to like senior year, basically. But yeah, Torchwood was definitely senior year to like college years, takes it. But regardless, um, that's the whole concept of why porn became such a, because I was like, oh, you can actually write real stories in the elements of porn. Like, porn could really have real. That's why I started watching recently, like Bellisa, which is a porn company that it was created by women, ran by women, and they do everything. They're writers, they're producers, they're directors. It's just a women led like porn collective company, and it's dope. And I like, they have males who write, they have males who do other things, but it's just a forward leaning, like, female led, like, production company. I want to write for them. I want to write for them. Like, I do. Like, I want to get more of my stories out that I've written, that self published, and like, I want them to see it. I want them to like. I want to write porn for them. But that's not the end all be all, of course, because I still like I have. Oh my god, I got my idea. I'm not telling my idea on my podcast, but I have my idea about like a whole porn like storyline thing that would revolutionize the idea of what porn is today. It's so it's such a minor fucking thing to do. It's such a minor tweak. It's amazing. But anyway, um, that's something I want to do. It's something I always wanted to do. It's something I always like dreamt of doing. Um, hence why my first books, even though I am going to write about the Omniverse. I want to write about the story. My first book was always the thing of do what you know, write what you know. And what I knew was sex because once again, special interest. And it was something that I studied and I like kind of like really like dug into to try to like understand and like figure out. That's why even when I'm with my partners, I always say like the same line, like I help them achieve an orgasm. It's not like, oh, I made them come or I made, you know what I mean, like I made her squirt. No, I helped her squirt. I helped her achieve a girl because it's their body, it's their experience, it's their expression. Like I'm just there as like thankfully a consensual willing participant in this like moment of their life where I we get to have this shared moment of just pleasure and joy and endorphins and dopamines and yada yada yada. So it was one of those type of things where I was like, yeah, like this is dope. Like sex is great. Once again, I said it previously. Like I look at everything as a choose your own adventure book. So when I have conversations with people, it's usually a thing of it's verbal and it's also physical. And having a physical conversation of intimacy or coitus helps me understand a person even better, helps me understand myself better. Because once again, I can do all the things I've done to other people, to as many different people as possible, but just because I've done these moves 100 or 1,000 or a million or a trillion different times, it doesn't mean that it's going to have the same effect or same reaction to people that I'm doing it to now. So that's why I love it. I love intimacy and I love learning people and knowing people. And when I say intimacy, I mean it on every level, not just the physical, but the emotional, the spiritual, the mental, like, metaphysical, like all of it. Like when I can learn everyone or these individuals that are willing to allow me access to them and act and willing to learn me as well. Like it's just such a fulfilling experience. It's such a it awakens me to no end. Um, and so I always find it fascinating when people try to only make a negative out of sex or sexual proclivities and stuff like that. Because I'm like, when you learn and figure out people, it only makes you better. It only makes the relationship between you and that person better. So I never understood why people only chose to use a demographic or understanding of verbal cues when we also know that body language is a huge, huge way of communicating with each other. Like between a woman twirling her hair to show that she is thinking about her parents, yada yada, or a guy, moving his tie around or adjusting his waist or his waist belts because he's aroused or like that. Like it's always going to be body language that's going to be in tow, just the same way when you're in coitus or in intimate scenarios, kissing and stuff like that, or touching or cuddling and stuff like that. Like there's going to be adjustments that's going to be made because all right, I feel really comfortable and relaxed, but so comfortable and relaxed that now I'm starting to get aroused. Like there's levels to this shit, people. But regardless of whatever, um, all that is with everyone else. My alignment has always been the same thing, and that's been the fact of saying like, yeah, I think that the whole concept of who fucking who is personally the person's business and is nobody else's business but theirs. And when it comes down to it, like, just enjoy yourself. Life is too short. Like, we never know when the last time we're going to, like, be able to breathe oxygen back into our lungs. So why live in a constant state of, I gotta worry about what somebody else is thinking about me? No, you don't gotta worry about what everybody else thinking about you. Who cares? Because really, why are they thinking about you if it's not for your greatest and highest good? If it's not for your greatest and highest good, then who cares what they think? If people want to say something bad about you, let them, because they're going to say about you anyway. So just enjoy yourself. Do what you want to do. Have fun. Because that's all my thing is. As long as as long as what you do it with the idea of saying it's only going to be for my benefit, it's not going to harm me or harm anybody else, I don't have nothing to say about anybody. And even if I did, who gives a fuck what the fuck I gotta say? Like, that would it pertains to somebody else. Like, if it has something to do with me, yeah, definitely. It has something to do with my daughter, definitely. Listen to what the fuck I'm saying. But like, if it has nothing to do with me and my daughter, I don't give a fuck. Oh, it's not my life. Do you, boo? But yeah, um, when it comes down to it, that's how I feel about life and how I feel about everything. Because I'm like, again, who's going to tell you how to be you better than you? The only people can ever tell you is what their concepts are about a version of you that they think they know of you. And we all expressed this already. There is an infinite amount of versions of ourselves that is going to be created by an infinite amount of versions of different people that we interact with. That's just what's going to happen. That's just how life is. So enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. Don't worry about who's talking about what. And if you want to go and get into a full blown D&D orgy with somebody, then go call up some friends and say, hey, you want to do a full blown D&D orgy? That's all I'm saying. Enjoy yourself. Life is short. Have fun. So I feel like this is a great stopping point because my feet say, "Oh, I got my new boots on and my new uh, socks and stuff. And so they feel great with my feet. My toes are getting cold. And I want to read this book. So, and I got a lot of stuff to do. And also, I think my soul bestie is supposed to be calling me later tonight. So I want to make sure I'm home and like at least 3 or 4 chapters into this book before they call. All right. Because they asked me about my book, about the book, and I told them I was going to get them. So I will talk to y'all later. Thanks again for listening. I'm trying to think, was there anything else I wanted to say? Oh, real fast, really quick. I do want to say I do feel like there a good conspiracy theory I just recently came up with was about redlining and how the fact that I feel like the Caucasoids actually redlined us to be into the inner city so that we could have our connection to the Fae and to the woodland creatures and the cryptics and all of the nature and spirit of the green and the of Mother Earth would be disconnected to us. That's why they push the indigenous people off of their land into like a barren desert type of area, so they can be away from the cryptics in the forest and the spirit of the forest. Same way what they did with us, as Africans who are also natives to this land and natives to every land. Um, and hence the reason why anytime you watch any type of supernatural thing or slap ham or nukes top five whatever spooky stuff, when people go in the forest, white people go in the forest, that's why they can try to get lured into the forest and get killed off, because the cryptics understand they are the reasons why they lost connection to the Homo sapiens or the indigenous people of us, because of the Caucasoids and the colonizers, and because indoctrination is to make the whole world believe that if white people are scared of something, then everybody else should be scared of something. That's why so many horror movies are about white people going to the woods getting killed, because that's what happens to them. Because the cryptics are waging a war against them, but when blacks and indigenous people go into the forest, they're cool, they're okay. because of the fact that like it is what it is. But not many black people go out into the forest and like talk about it like that because it becomes a thing of separation between the populace because most of the populace is like, yeah, that's that white people stuff. Black people don't go camping, blah blah, which is such a weird like whatever. But anyway, because that's we lived with part of the nature from the start. It was the colonizers who changed the format of how we live in our day to day society, and clearly it's not working. It's not working. Everyone is literally starting to get RVs and get campers to go fucking forage in the woods now. Motherfuckers is literally buying land so they could get away from society. No one wants this shit anymore. No one wants to be around people anymore. It's so funny. Unless it's around the people that they want to be around. Everybody wants to create their own tribes. Like that's literally what it is. Everybody wants to create their own tribes or just be alone. And I get it. But that was one of the theories I just came over recently this week. I was like, huh, that's interesting. Maybe that's the fact. Like if blacks and more indigenous people actually get closer to the woods and closer to nature, then we can actually heal because we can actually reconnect with our, the fae and all the Mother Earth and stuff like that. And the bond of creation again through this bond that of this egg that we're living on of Earth. But anyway, oh, that's what I was talking about. That's how a lot of it started because I was thinking about they a lot of the quantum computing actually solved a mystery of spooky science that Einstein used to call quantum mechanics. Apparently, they're between the two particles that are at different locations in space time still reacting to each other simultaneously. Apparently, a new experiment was just conducted where they showed that it's about oh, 0. I want to say 13 zeros off to the third power of like at a sec at, at, at 2 seconds or at a 2 seconds or something like that. It's like a 100 millionth of a second um that it or yeah like 100 millionth of a second with like within that second is the time it takes for a particle to change identically with another particle that is connected to regardless of whatever space and time it's at, which means that the the amount of time it takes for the human eye to blink, the particle would have changed like over 1,000 different times already, which is insane. Like is incredible. So, but now it's being measured. Like now we can measure it. Now we understand it. We figure that out. So it's a whole new level of understanding when it comes to quantum mechanics and the concept of also the double slit experiment, which we know about. Shining a pitting a atom or a proton or a light or whatever you want to do through a slit. If you don't observe it, it's going to end up being a certain way. If you do observe it, it's going to end up being with columns and formatted. So it changes the dynamic and the direction of what we know and what we thought we knew and what we will know so drastically now because now that we have a measurement of that, now we can figure out what other things can happen within that measurement of time, as well as what does that mean regarding that new concept of time and that new relativity of this change or this homogenized glue that connects these two particles together within these brief quantum moments, if you will. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks again for listening. Again, to end off this episode, kind of similar how I started it. Fuck ice. Goddamn slimy pieces of shit. I'm so happy they got doxxed. I'm not sure if anybody noticed they got doxxed. So y'all can look up the people that are working for ICE and see their faces without their mask on, those fucking pussies. Then yeah, they got doxxed. So Anybody want to look it up? Just Google doxed ICE agents. You know what I mean? Just Google. If you want to share it out, go for it. All right. I mean, do what you want because that's what they're doing. They're doing what they want. So do what you want. That's that. You know what 2026 is? 2026 is do what you want. Fuck it. That's 2026. Do what you want. Because I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to live my best life and walk in gratitude and read my books and write my books and finish up my school and stuff like that and get my daughter back and get an RV and go travel and see the world and shit. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that and I will be happy because I'm not going to have my daughter back. I'm not going to be in relationships. I'm just going to be traveling and learning. And that's all we're going to be doing, just traveling and learning. Just seeing the world and seeing meeting new people and just enjoying our lives. That's it. Because I that's all I want now. I don't like. I'm so done. Like I think like I know I'm not. I don't want to have more sex in my life, but really, listen, I'm so like tired. I'm so bored. I'm just like uh. Cause you know what it is. You know what it is. It's the fact of the matter is I've done everything that I could possibly think of. I said this to my friend earlier when I sent her a recording earlier. I was like, I did everything I've done sexually except for be with the person who actually loves me back equally. So it's kind of one of those things. Until I get that, it's kind of like I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with. I'm kind of done with it. It's like, because nobody can really offer me anything except for like the reciprocation of love that I want to give them. And unless that's if you're not offering that back, then it's kind of one of those like, okay, thanks. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it. Since when I'm like, all I want to do now is just travel and just see the world and just hang out with my daughter and just like learn shit, like forage in the forest and like help people, help those who like I can help who want my help. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And meet new people, eat new foods, learn like have new experiences and stuff like that. But just like learn and grow and be better. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks again, everybody. I appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Once again, hit me up if you feel inclined to. Um, I'm always open to answer any questions and talk to anybody who is kind, open, and honest, and not coming for any type of hassle or whatever. And if you are coming for a hassle, then let's meet up so I can give you a hug. Because clearly that's what you need. All right, y'all have a great one, and until next time, I guess we'll just have to traverse this verse at another time. All right, see y'all later. This has been a Troyiverse production.